Chapter 666. Heavenly lightning, help me. The pressure was getting heavier and heavier. The low-level beasts in the forest were all crawling on the ground, shivering. The high-level beasts were not any better off. Their hearts were about to jump out of their chests. Oh God, what on earth was going on? The heavens have never been so angry before. Which ancestor offended the heavens? Chujiu did not know what was happening outside. She was still scolding heavens recklessly. Heavens! You old bastard! You're hiding in a turtle shell, but you never come out even if you have the ability. If you don't strike today. Just as Chujiu said strike, a deafening thunder rumbled. Chujiu was so happy that she almost jumped up. That was great! The heavenly thunder had finally struck. In the beginning, the heavenly thunder had only struck the top of the cave. It seemed that it had not destroyed the formation yet. Chujiu could not help but admire the person who set up this formation. The heavenly thunder had struck for so long without destroying it. It would be great if the formation was that powerful. The Fox King and its subordinates were all trembling in fear. It's too scary. We have lived for hundreds of years, but we have never heard such a dense thunder. This little girl has completely infuriated heavens. Sob sob. I wonder what heavenly lightning looks like. After the formation is destroyed, it won't accidentally injure us, right? It has to be said that this formation was extremely sturdy. After the dense heavenly lightning struck for a full hour, the formation began to crack. The heavenly lightning struck toward Chujiu through the crack. Flaming three-tailed Fox King closed its eyes. It's over. This little girl is done for. Sigh, this little girl could be considered to have sacrificed herself for the sake of the beast. Have a safe journey. After a while, the heavenly lightning was still rumbling. The Fox King opened its eyes to take a look. It could not believe what it saw. That little girl was actually fine. Moreover, she was still jumping around. At first, it thought that she was avoiding the thunder, but it turned out that she was deliberately drawing the thunder to strike those mineral veins. After striking down some ores, she put some into her storage ring. She was really busy. The flaming three-tailed Fox King was dumbfounded. Fuck. This little girl was really willing to sacrifice her life for money. She actually used heavenly lightning to help her mine ores. Oh my God. Could it be that the outside world had undergone tremendous changes in the past 40 years? Were humans so abnormal? Not only were they not afraid of being struck by lightning, but they actually let the heavenly lightning work for them? At that moment, Chujiu only had one word in her heart: beautiful. I'm simply too smart. By continuously dodging, not only can I get these silly heavenly lightning to help me release the ores, but I can also get these ores to help me block a portion of the heavenly lightning. It's really killing two birds with one stone. As the heavenly lightning bolts descended, the ceiling of the cave began to collapse. However, Chujiu was not afraid of being crushed to death by the rocks. The rocks above her had already been reduced to ashes by the heavenly lightning bolts. The flaming three-tailed Fox King was in a miserable state. They could not withstand these rocks. However, if they were to hide beside Chujiu, they would not be afraid of being accidentally injured by the heavenly lightning bolts. It had to watch carefully. The heavenly lightning bolts did not have good eyesight, as more than half of the heavenly lightning bolts did not strike the little girl. They were all used by the little girl to split the ores. The flaming three-tailed Fox King could only pitifully call out to Chujiu, hoping that Chujiu could help them. Chujiu did not make things difficult for them. She told them not to resist, and then put them into the spirit beast pouch. Chapter 667. Dark clouds couldn't take it anymore after flaming three-tailed foxes entered the spirit beast pouch. They saw that there were already 3 other beasts inside. A mighty elephant cub, a fire-breathing crow, and a tailless burrowing rat. The Fox King had a look of disdain. Although this little girl's abilities aren't bad, the spirit beasts she took in are really bad, right? Only the mighty elephant could be considered passable, but it was a pity that it was still a cub. That fire-breathing crow and tailless burrowing rat were simply too weak. Little Black was very shrewd, and immediately saw through the flaming three-tailed Fox King's intentions. He cursed in his heart, "You shameless bastard, just you wait. Wait until Master leaves, and see how I will deal with you." Humph. After master advances, I will definitely advance as well. When that time comes, I will beat you up until you find your teeth all over the ground. Chujiu did not know about the internal strife in the spirit beast pouch. At that moment, she was jumping around happily, trying her best not to waste every bolt of heavenly lightning. When she left later, these mineral veins might not be able to be preserved. At that moment, if she could get more, she would get more. TSK, no matter who was mining, they would not be as efficient as her. A bolt of heavenly lightning would be able to produce a large piece. It was simply too satisfying. Compared to the heavenly lightning, those explosive talismans were simply too weak. In such a short period of time, the ores she obtained were comparable to the ores that thousands of people had mined for half a year. At this time, the cave had already begun to collapse nonstop, and the heavenly lightning was gradually gathering toward Chujiu. Thanks to her recent escapes, Chujiu felt that her physical strength was really great. After jumping around for so long, she was actually not tired at all. She was really pissing the clouds off. The dark clouds in the sky gradually realized Chujiu's intention, and they were so angry that they almost cringed to death. Fuck. Chujiu actually used them as free labor. She actually made them help her mine ore. It was intolerable. Hack her. Kill her. More concentrated heavenly thunder struck Chujiu. Of course, there were some who did not put in any effort, especially Little Dark Cloud, who was on good terms with Chujiu. The lightning that struck down from it struck the mineral vein. The strange grass and the great void mirror in Chujiu's dantian had become stronger than before. Hence, the ability to absorb the power of lightning was also much stronger. It continuously absorbed the power of lightning that surged into Chujiu's dantian. However, this time, it was obvious that Heavens was extremely angry. Almost all of the dark clouds gathered there. Streaks of purple lightning that were as thick as an adult's wrist continuously struck down at Chujiu, who was in the cave. Chujiu gradually could not take it anymore. She was also unable to jump and could only sit cross-legged. The moment she stopped and did not move, the purple heavenly lightning did not have any problem striking accurately. Streaks of heavenly lightning struck down at Chujiu one after another. Chujiu could only try her best to absorb the heavenly lightning and inject it into her dantian. However, even though her meridians had been cleansed by her, they were still unable to withstand such violent heavenly lightning. After the violent heavenly lightning entered her meridians, it continued to rampage. If this continued, Chujiu would explode like a balloon. At that moment, a figure jumped down from above and continuously formed seals to help Chujiu block the heavenly lightning. Gigolo! Chujiu hurriedly shouted. Prince Charming, get out quickly. I can do it. You will be struck to death. Beiming was unmoved and glared at her. Stop talking nonsense and quickly channel the thunder spirit force in your body into your dantian. When I can't hold on anymore, you will be struck again. Chapter 668. Destined for nothing. Chujiu felt that Beiming's cut the crap attitude sounded more pleasant than his affectionate words. She did not say anything more and quickly combed through the thunder spirit force that was colliding all over her body, and channeled it into her dantian. Then she let strange grass and the great void mirror devour it. The dark clouds in the sky were about to explode with anger. It was not easy to kill this scourge, but this fearless one actually dares to show himself. It was because of him last time, or else they would have killed this scourge. The dark clouds vented its anger, and kept bringing down the purple heavenly thunder on Beiming. Beiming was much stronger than the last time when he helped Chujiu to resist the heavenly thunder. After he formed a seal with his hands, a layer of spiritual energy shield appeared on his body, protecting him and Chujiu. However, this spiritual energy shield was extremely weak compared to the heavenly thunder. He had to constantly form seals to maintain it from being broken by the thunder. Therefore, Beiming's spiritual energy consumption was very high. Fortunately, he had a lot of heaven-grade explosive spirit pills that Chujiu refined. He poured them into his mouth one by one, and barely managed to maintain it for 15 minutes. The moment Beiming's spiritual energy shield was shattered, Chujiu pushed Beiming to the side and scolded the clouds in the sky. Are you guys blind? I'm right here. As expected, the clouds did not attack Biming anymore, and continued to attack Chujiu instead. When Chujiu could no longer hold on, Biming, who had recovered some of his spiritual power, formed another seal and created a spiritual power shield. The two of them persisted for another 4 hours. However, as time passed, the two of them were getting weaker and weaker. However, the dark clouds in the sky were getting stronger and stronger. Chujiu's heart sank. Was she really going to be done for? She was really shooting herself in the foot. Originally, she would not have died immediately after being trapped in the cave. But now, not only was she dead, but the gigolo was also going to die because of her. Chujiu knew that no matter how she tried to persuade him, Biming would not leave her alone. Could it be that the two of them could only die together? Chujiu recalled the time when she was in the fire cave. The Great Void Mirror had once brought her into the Great Void Mystic Realm. She did not know if it would work this time, hence, she used her spiritual sense to communicate with the Great Void Mirror. Little mirror, can you take me and the gigolo into your Great Void Mystic Realm? The Great Void Mirror trembled continuously. Chujiu knew that it was saying no when she saw the situation. It must have made an exception last time. There was no way to bring them in this time. What should she do? Chujiu's eyes revealed a trace of ruthlessness. She could not let the gigolo lose his life in order to save her. Since he did not leave, she could only make a move. Just as Biming was about to form another seal, Chujiu's palm struck the back of Biming's neck. Biming did not expect Chujiu to suddenly make her move. His attention was focused on the heavenly lightning. Chujiu's attack succeeded, and she quickly pushed Biming to the side. Chujiu was afraid that the heavenly lightning would affect Biming, so she leaped with all her might to a place far away from Biming. Then, she shouted to the dark clouds in the sky, "Come! I'm here. Come and strike me." The heavenly lightning struck Chujiu again. Chujiu's meridians had reached a saturation state, and her whole body began to swell up. Chujiu turned to look at Biming on the other side. "Gigolo, although we fell in love, we're not fated to be together. I hope that we can be together in the next life." Chapter 669. Never leave each other. Chujiu's mind flashed with scenes of her interaction with Biming. She could not help but smile bitterly. Our fate originated from this demonic beast forest, yet it actually ends in this demonic beast forest. It's truly fate. Chujiu's tears flowed down from the corners of her eyes. In my previous life, when I was struck by lightning, I could be said to have died without any worries. In my previous life, I only had one friend, Yinqi. Yinqi was cold-hearted through and through. When she found out that I was dead, she might not even shed tears, and would definitely be able to continue living well. In this life, however, there are too many attachments. The proud and loving gigolo, the kind and easygoing grandfather, the brother and sister who loved her dearly, Master Qian who tolerated her, the elders, and those silly and cute foodies. Chujiu's heart surged with an intense reluctance. This reluctance instantly turned into unwillingness. Why? Why should I be deprived of my right to live? Why should I be killed by the heavens just because I have the heavenly thunder root spirit? I am unwilling. I cannot give up just like that. I have not found my adoptive parents. I have not had a child with the gigolo. And I have not even completed the task given to me by the old witch. I am unwilling. Chujiu's tendons and veins began to gradually burst open. The originally red clothes on her body began to turn dark red, and even the skin on her face began to crack, making her look like a bloody person. Little Jiu. Biming actually woke up at this time. He jumped to Chujiu's side and protected Chujiu under his body, allowing the heavenly lightning to strike his body. Without waiting for Chujiu to react, Biming bit his index finger. Both of his hands quickly formed a seal again, and the spiritual energy barrier was once again strengthened. Chujiu discovered that Biming's hair was rapidly turning white, and his face was also rapidly aging. "No. Biming, stop." Chujiu screamed. She knew that Biming must have used some kind of secret technique to burn his life force to increase his spiritual power. "Biming, if you don't stop, I will kill myself immediately." Chujiu's eyes were filled with blood and tears. This was the first time she was so angry at her own incompetence and the injustice of the heavens. Biming quickly formed a seal and said, "Little Jiu, I will do what I said. You will not die." "No. Biming. I beg you. Please stop. I beg you. Please stop." Chujiu's veins were broken. She could not move at all. She could only watch as Biming's black hair turned into silver strands. His handsome face had completely aged until he spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. "No. Gigolo. Heavens. I'll fuck your ancestor over 1,000,000 times. I can't beat you in this life. I'll definitely crush your bones and scatter your ashes in the next life." Chujiu tried her best to crawl in front of Biming, but she could not move at all. Chujiu used her fingers to dig into the ground and moved forward inch by inch. Blood and tears flowed down from the corners of her eyes. Her mind was filled with images of her interactions with Biming. "Gigolo, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been willful and playful. I shouldn't have thought that I was smart. If there is an afterlife, I would definitely make it up to you. I will never let you read to me again. I will never let you sing lullabies to me again. I would do whatever you say." The dark clouds in the sky continued to strike down lightning at Chujiu. Chujiu was in so much pain that she could no longer feel anything. Right then, she only wanted to crawl to Biming's side. Since she was going to die, then they would die together. If we were born, then we would be in the same bed. If we die, then we will die at the same point in time. We could not become husband and wife in this life, so in the next, we must meet early. We will have one heart, and will never be separated. Chapter 670. Golden Seal. Another round of dense lightning struck down. Chujiu's veins and tendons had all exploded. Chujiu's blood was all over the ground, but she still struggled to move forward. "Gigolo, you've protected me while I'm alive. Just wait for me. I will protect you on the road to hell." Chujiu moved forward inch by inch. Finally, her hand grabbed Biming's hand. Blood and tears flowed down from the corners of her eyes. Biming's originally long and strong hand had now become old and weak. The hand that had brought her so much warmth had become extremely cold. The last thought in Chujiu's heart shattered her. If the gigolo was really dead, then what was the point of her living? Chujiu raised her head with great effort and roared, "Heavens! Heaven and earth are heartless and treat all things as dogs. Yet, you use your emotions to rule the world. Since you are so unfair, in the next life, I will definitely destroy you." In response to Chujiu, there were bolts of lightning, one of which struck Biming's body. His silver hair was instantly turned into charcoal, and even his clothes were turned into ashes. Chujiu used the last of her strength to protect Biming under her body. The blood in her eyes fell on Biming's face. "Gigolo, I'm coming to accompany you now." After saying that, Chujiu lay on Biming's body. The last bit of hope was gone. She no longer had the will to live. She closed her eyes and waited for death to come. The strange grass in Chujiu's dantian was struggling to move its leaves. The great void mirror looked at it coldly and hit it hard. It was rare that the strange grass did not fight back. Instead, it pained and injected the life force in its body into Chujiu's body. Chujiu's ruptured meridians started to heal quickly. Chujiu soon realized that her meridians were healing rapidly. Then they were ruptured, healed and ruptured again. At first, she thought that she was hallucinating. After a few rounds, she could not help but laugh at herself. Even her death had to be a painful one? The pain of having her meridians ruptured was not something that an ordinary person could bear. Chujiu had a thought in her heart. She thought that Biming was not dead yet, so she forced herself to stay awake. Then the thought dissipated, and she fainted very quickly. The heavenly lightning continued to strike down. Chujiu's red clothes were finally turned into ashes. The blood that kept seeping out of her body dyed Biming into a bloody man. Chujiu's blood kept dripping on Biming's body. Suddenly, an ancient and complicated seal burst out from Biming's body. The seal suddenly emitted a dazzling golden light. Not only did it block all the thunder tribulation, but a golden light pillar also shot straight into the sky. Most of the thick and heavy dark clouds were blasted into dust. A few of the surviving dark clouds also escaped. Under the golden light, Biming's old face quickly changed back to his original appearance. Only then did the seal return to Biming's body. The strange grass and the great void mirror in Yin Chujius Dantian looked at each other while trembling. Strange grass gut were green with regret. From now on, I must make grass again. Sob sob. It was simply courting death in the past. The entire demon beast forest gradually returned to peace. And Feng hurriedly brought people to the place where they had left. However, strangely, he found that other than the scorched earth, there was no sign of his venerable self and Miss Jiu. Where did the two of them go? Chapter 671. We have become ghosts. The next day, the first ray of sunlight shone into the deep pit. Yin Chujiu opened her eyes and was stunned for a moment. Where was she? Suddenly, the scene from the day before flashed in her mind. She hurriedly lowered her head and looked at Biming, who had regained his youthful appearance. Yin Chujiu was stunned at first. Then she smiled bitterly and said, "It seems that we're really dead. This is the road to the netherworld, right? Otherwise, why would the gigolo have regained his youthful appearance? However, this may be good. The gigolo is so finicky. If we let him turn into a ghost with that old face, he will definitely be unhappy." Yin Chujiu saw that Biming's face was covered in blood and wanted to help wipe it off. Subconsciously, she took out a handkerchief and clear water from her storage ring. Then, the guy was dumbfounded. Even if one turns into a ghost, can the storage ring be used? Is this a bonus? Forget it. Let's help the gigolo clean up first. Yin Chujiu was about to get off Biming when he opened his eyes. Biming was also stunned. He looked at Yin Chujiu, whose face was covered in blood. "Little Jiu, are we dead?" Yin Chujiu saw that Biming had gained consciousness and started to howl. "Sob sob. Gigolo, I thought I couldn't hear you anymore. We are all ghosts now." Biming raised his hand to help Yin Chujiu wipe her tears. He realized that his hand had returned to its original form, and believed Yin Chujius' words even more. It seemed that they had really become ghosts. "Gigolo, are you stupid? Why did you save me? You were courting death." Yin Chujius' tears fell. This girl was no longer called Prince Charming anymore. She had directly called him Gigolo. Since everyone was a ghost now, she was not afraid of him beating her up. Biming's eyes were full of love. "There's no such thing as why. If I don't save you, who will?" Yin Chujiu heard Biming's words and howled even more fiercely. "Sob sob. Gigolo, I've let you down. It's all my fault. If I hadn't scolded that old bastard, heavens, it wouldn't have been so angry and you wouldn't have died. Gigolo, don't worry. In my next life, I'll definitely make it up to you. I'll sing a lullaby for you every day and read books to you, okay?" Biming raised his arm and touched Yin Chujius' little head. "Cough, cough, little bald head," he said with a deep smile. "Okay, as long as we're together." The two of them could not help but kiss. Biming turned over and pressed Yin Chujiu under his body. Then a certain part of his body recovered. Biming was stunned. Yin Chujiu was also stunned. The two of them realized that at that moment, both of them were naked. After the two of them were stunned for a moment, Yin Chujiu screamed and pushed Biming to the side. Then she took out some clothes from her storage ring and put them on. Yin Chuji's face was burning. She did not dare to look back at Biming for a long time. She was so embarrassed. Biming's face was even redder. He quickly took out some clothes from his storage ring and put them on. The two of them did not speak for a long time. In the end, it was Yin Chujiu who was more thick-skinned. She coughed dryly. "Ahem. My Prince Charming, there's no need to be embarrassed. It's not like I haven't seen it before." Biming's face became even redder. Even his neck was red. He changed the topic in a panic. We have become ghosts. How can we still use the storage ring? I guess they feel that we died unjustly, so they gave us extra benefits." Biming was stunned at first, then he laughed in a low voice. "Little Jiu, we're not dead. We are still alive." Chapter 672. Was supposed to treat me well. Yin Chujiu also felt that she did not look like a ghost. Maybe 80%? So she really did not die? Yin Chujiu reached out and pinched Di Biming's arm. Does it hurt? Di Biming was speechless. Little Jiu, didn't we agree that you would make it up to me? Didn't we agree that you would listen to everything I say? Is this how you treat me well? Prince Charming, doesn't it hurt? Why don't I pinch you again? It hurts. If you don't believe me, try pinching yourself. Di Biming quickly said when he saw that Yin Chujiu was eager to make a move. Yin Chujiu pouted. I'm not stupid. You said it hurts. Why should I pinch myself? He was tongue-tied again. Yin Chujiu's eyes turned red. She did not expect that they would still be alive. She would not waste this hard-earned chance to live. So what if it was the heavens? For the gigolo, for the Yun family, and for herself, she had to work hard to become stronger. She had to break all the shackles so that no one could control her fate. Di Biming was also very emotional. He originally thought that he was strong enough, but in front of heavens, he appeared so weak. He had to work hard to cultivate. Prince Charming, tell me, why aren't we dead? Moreover, your appearance has recovered, and my veins are still intact, Yin Chujiu said in confusion. Di Biming was also puzzled. In short, it's good that we are still alive. Let's get out quickly. Yes. Oh right, Prince Charming, look, what are these? Yin Chujiu pointed at the mineral veins on the side. Di Biming only then noticed the mineral veins on the side and exclaimed, it's actually the main mineral vein? Yes, I don't know if there are other people outside, but we must keep it a secret. You should secretly send someone to mine all these ores, so that others won't benefit from it, Yin Chujiu said sneakily. Di Biming nodded. This mineral vein was very rare even in the Tianyuan continent. It was indeed a considerable fortune. The two of them simply used water to wipe off the bloodstains on their faces and hands. Yin Chujiu skillfully tied a handkerchief on her head and asked Di Biming, Prince Charming, do you need a handkerchief to cover your head? Di Biming smiled faintly. No worries, this will do. Yin Chujiu curled her lips. Damn, so what if he was good looking? The gigolo's bald head looked even more like it wanted to be trampled on, exuding a strong sense of restraint and lust. Sob sob. If I knew this would happen, I would have taken a few more glances just now. Such a good opportunity was actually wasted by her. What a pity, what a pity. However, she would have to take a bath when she went back. Hee, when that time came, she would definitely seize the opportunity to tease the gigolo. Di Biming summoned his sword and grabbed Yin Chujiu's waist. The two of them flew up. Feng was anxiously searching for Yin Chujiu, and Di Biming with the others when he suddenly realized that his venerable self and Miss Jiu had appeared in front of everyone. It could be said that the two of them made a brilliant appearance, especially Di Biming. His bald head was very dazzling under the reflection of the morning sun. Esteemed self, how did the two of you appear out of thin air? Feng asked in confusion. Di Biming and Yin Chujiu were stunned. They lowered their heads and realized that other than the scorched earth, there was no deep pit that they could have been in. Yin Chujiu even deliberately stomped her feet. They were on the ground. The two of them were dumbfounded. What was going on? They had clearly flown up from the deep pit by riding their swords. How could it have suddenly disappeared? Chapter 673. Too mysterious, Prince Charming. What's going on? We clearly flew up from below. Yin Chujiu felt that her brain ached as she could not keep up with what happened. Little Jiu, I'm afraid that the array formation there hasn't been completely destroyed by the heavenly lightning. It's also possible that there's more than one kind of array formation set up there. After we came out, the array formation automatically opened, so we can't go in again, Di Biming said after thinking for a moment. Yin Chujiu was completely in awe of the person who set up the formation. It was too awesome. Even under the bombardment of so many heavenly lightning bolts, it still functioned. This formation was too formidable. However, she immediately regretted leaving. If she had known earlier, she and the pretty boy would have dug more ore before flying away. Now there was no way to go in again. Miss Jiu, how did you disappear before? Feng asked curiously. I jumped down from Auda's back and felt a white flash of light. Then I ended up in a cave. Guess what was inside? Yin Chujiu said with a smile. What's inside? There were more than 10 flaming three-tailed foxes inside. Theirs was also a Hui Chui mineral vein. I felt my mouth open wide from the shock. Yin Chujiu said smugly. Di Baiming looked at the smiling Yin Chujiu and finally heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He was afraid that after such a calamity, little Jiu's temperament would change drastically, and she would resort to extremes from then on. Fortunately, although she had experienced so much misfortune, other than being more tenacious, her personality was still bright and cheerful. Moreover, she still maintained a pure heart, which was gratifying. And Feng exclaimed in disbelief, "Ninth miss, this is too unbelievable, isn't it? Are you joking?" Yin Chujiu curled her lips and released a nest of flaming three-tailed foxes from her spirit beast bag. Although these flaming three-tailed foxes were unable to sense the situation outside while inside the spirit beast bag, they knew that the situation was very critical when they saw the fire-spitting crow and stone-eating rat trying their best to break out of the spirit beast bag to save their master. The flaming three-tailed fox king thought that the little girl would be struck to death by lightning, but it did not expect that she would survive. After being struck by lightning for a day and a night, she was still alive. Was she human? And Feng was immediately dumbfounded when he saw the flaming three-tailed foxes. Damn, the ninth miss actually met the flaming three-tailed foxes who was supposed to be part of her bluff. These were exotic beasts, and there were so many of them? This was too inconceivable. The flaming three-tailed fox's eyes were rolling around like black stones. This little girl would soar into the sky in the future. Should it acknowledge her as its master? It was only three-tailed now. If it did not seize the opportunity, it would probably stay three-tailed for the rest of its life. If it followed this little girl, it might awaken its latent powers and become a nine-tailed fox in the future. Just thinking about it made it very excited, right? Thinking of this, the flaming three-tailed fox king howled at Yin Chujiu a few times before wagging its fluffy tail in a fawning manner. Yin Chujiu thought that it was thanking her. She waved her hands at it and said, "No need to thank me. We can be considered friends. See you later." Yin Chujiu held Di Baiming's arm and said, "Prince Charming, let's go back quickly. I think the sect leader and the rest will be very worried." Di Baiming nodded, and the two of them walked out of the demonic beast forest. The flaming three-tailed fox king was anxious. It jumped in front of Yin Chujiu and cried out. Yin Chujiu was stunned. "Didn't I tell you? There's no need to thank me. You can go." Chapter 674. I don't want to take you in as a spirit pet. Seeing that Yin Chujiu still didn't understand what it meant, the three-tailed fox king cried out anxiously. Di Baiming curled the corners of his mouth. "Little Jiu, I'm afraid that it wants to acknowledge you as its master." And Feng and the guards looked at Yin Chujiu enviously. TSK, look at the luck of Miss Jiu. The flaming three-tailed fox was an exotic beast that could grow even stronger. If it could grow 6 tails, it would be an immortal beast. Imagine if it grew 9. Why did they not encounter such good fortune themselves? However, they said that exotic beasts were very arrogant. Why did it look like it wanted to acknowledge Miss Jiu as its master? What made them even more confused was that they heard Yin Chujiu say, "You want to acknowledge me as your master? I already have 2 spiritual pets. I don't want to take in any more." When Yin Chujiu said this, she remembered that she still had a small mighty elephant in her spirit beast bag. So she asked Enfeng, "Where are Ada and the others? I have to return the little elephant to them." "Miss Jiu, Ada, and the others are in charge of guarding the front. We will be able to see them in a while," Enfeng answered after being stunned for a moment. Enfeng thought to himself, "Miss Jiu, aren't you missing the main point? We can return the little elephant later. This flaming three-tailed fox is an exotic beast, and this particular one is the Fox King. It will surely get stronger in the future, so how can we reject it?" The flaming three-tailed Fox King also had a look of disbelief on his face. "I, the dignified Fox King, want to acknowledge you as my master. Shouldn't you be so grateful that tears would flow down your face? You indeed have 2 spiritual pets, but can an ugly fire-spitting crow and a weak, tailless stone-eating rat be compared to me?" When the Fox King saw that Yin Chujiu had walked forward, it did not have any intention of going back on its words. It was anxious. Regardless of whether it was a human or a beast, It took an effort to obtain the best things in life. Initially, it was still hesitating whether it should acknowledge Chujiu as its master, but it had already made up its mind. It would do what it had to so Chujiu became its master. It howled a few times at the other flaming three-tailed foxes, indicating that they could leave. Then it chased after Chujiu and the rest. Chujiu continued chatting and laughing with beiming as if she had not seen him. The flaming three-tailed fox king felt that his pride had suffered a serious blow, but he was unwilling to leave just like that. This king did not believe it. "I'll follow you until you accept me." After walking for about a quarter of an hour, Chujiu saw 5 mighty elephants. When the mighty elephants saw Chujiu, they were so happy that they kept swinging their huge trunks. They would have rolled Chujiu up with their trunks and tossed her a few times where they were not afraid that Chujiu would not be able to take it. Chujiu released the baby elephants from the spiritual beast bag. The 5 mighty elephants kept stroking the baby elephants with their trunks, just like a human comforting a frightened child. Chujiu was very grateful to these 5 mighty elephants. If it were not for them, she would have died at the hands of the black-clothed men. Also, they had helped her a lot when she killed Chujiu last time. The red bottle contains blood coagulation pills, and the white bottle contains exploding spirit pills. I'll give them to you. In the future, I'll often come to the demon beast forest to play with you. Chujiu took out several bottles of super-grade blood coagulation pills and super-grade exploding spirit pills, and wrapped them up with cloth. She hung them on Ada's tusks. Ada called out a few times gratefully, and used his nose to gently touch Chujiu. Then he led the herd of elephants and walked away. The flaming three-tailed fox king felt a sour feeling in its heart when it saw this. This little girl was amazing. She made the violent mighty elephant so docile. No matter what, it had to acknowledge her as its master. Chapter 675. Come take a bath. The flaming three-tailed fox king followed closely behind Chujiu, wagging its fiery red tail in a fawning manner. And Feng pursed his lips. "Damn, can you have some integrity? Wagging your tail? You're not a household dog. You're an exotic beast." Even after they left the demon beast forest, the flaming three-tailed fox king still chased after them relentlessly, acting as if it would not take no for an answer. Chujiu sighed. "I'm too kind. Since you are so sincere, I will take you in. However, if I take you in, you have to behave yourself. If you don't, I will starve you to death." The flaming three-tailed fox king hurriedly nodded. Letting Chujiu take it in was its greatest wish. Immediately, Chujiu bit her middle finger and dripped the blood into the mouth of the flaming three-tailed fox king. The fox king began to form a seal with its 2 front claws. A moment later, an ancient and complicated pattern of a contract appeared in the air, and then disappeared between Chujiu's brows. "I'll keep you. I have to give you a unique name. Little Black, Little Flame, Woolly Ball, Mickey Mouse, Strange Grass, Little Quiet. All these good names have been used. What name should I give you?" Chujiu touched her chin and muttered to herself. The flaming three-tailed fox was suddenly filled with deep worry about its own name. Its master's skill in naming was really scary. "I've got it. Your fur is red. You shall be called Little Red." Chujiu clapped her hands and said. The flaming three-tailed fox king immediately fainted. It was a dignified fox king, but it had such an embarrassing name from now on. Was it too late for it to regret now? Chujiu saw that the flaming three-tailed fox king had fainted, and could not help but be stunned. She turned her head and asked beiming, "Prince Charming, why did it faint? Could it be that it was excited because it's finally been given a name?" beiming rubbed his nose and thought, "Excited? The flaming three-tailed king must have fainted from embarrassment." Fortunately, the name that the black thing gave their future child was still quite reliable. Chujiu put the fainted flaming three-tailed fox king, who was now known as Little Red, into her spirit beast bag. Only then did she follow beiming to board the flying spirit tool, and return to the spirit radiance sect. When Master Xianyuan and the others saw that Chujiu had returned safely, they were naturally very happy. Even from the spirit radiance sect, they could hear the thunder that shook the sky in the demonic beast forest yesterday. One could imagine how dangerous it was. After a few simple conversations, Chujiu and Biming returned to the dormitory. Prince Charming, go outside and be on guard. I want to take a bath. My body is so dirty. Biming nodded and walked outside. Chujiu took out a bathtub and hot water from her storage ring and jumped in to take a good bath. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but her skin felt better. It had become white and tender, like a beautiful little beauty. After Chujiu finished taking a bath, she applied a hair growth pill on her head and took out a mirror to draw 2 eyebrows. Then she got clean bathwater again and shouted to Biming, "My dear Prince Charming, come in and take a bath." After Biming entered the room, he saw Chujiu standing at the side calmly. He could not help but frown. "Little Jiu, you can go out now." "Prince Charming, I said that I will treat you well. Let's start by serving you in the bath. I will help you take off your clothes." Chujiu stretched out her hands and reached for Biming's belt. Biming quickly dodged. "No need, I can do it myself. You can go out now." Chapter 676. Our mother is here, Prince Charming. You don't have to stand on ceremony. I'm happy to help you take a bath. Chujiu said with a sly look. Biming dodged a few times, but Chujiu was like a hunting dog chasing after its prey. Biming had no choice but to pick up the back of Chujiu's collar and drag her out of the door. Then he closed the door. Chujiu snorted angrily. "So what if you're tall? You always carry me around like a little child. Forget it. Do you think I'm willing to help you? I've already seen it a few times. Do you think I want to see more of it?" Chujiu pouted and said angrily. Feng and a few dark guards in the corner looked at each other and pretended to be deaf. They didn't hear anything. Chujiu glared at them and then took out a handkerchief to wrap her head. She had 2 small tails behind her, one sticking out and the other sticking out. Chujiu sat on the stone bench and recalled what had happened last night. After her tendons and veins had exploded, they had strangely healed. Then they exploded and healed again. Could it be? Chujiu used her spiritual sense to look inside her dantian. She saw that the strange grass was drooping its head. The originally bright green leaves had become dark. The strange grass noticed Chujiu's gaze and formed 2 peach hearts out of the leaves. "Strange grass, you saved me?" The strange grass thought for a moment. Although it was not the one who saved the pretty boy, it was indeed the one who saved the stinky girl. Hence it trembled and admitted it. Chujiu said with satisfaction, "Strange grass, I didn't expect your performance to be so good recently. I will not pursue the matter of you scamming me for the time being. Let's see your follow-up performance." The strange grass kept wagging its tail in an obsequious manner. Chujiu complimented it a few more times before withdrawing her spiritual sense. She couldn't help but wonder why the strange grass was so attentive. It was really strange. Chujiu thought of Biming, who was bathing in the house. Her heart was overcome with curiosity. She really wanted to peek at him. Therefore she walked to the door and shouted, "Prince Charming, is the water cold? Do you need some hot water?" "No." Biming's deep voice came from inside. "My Prince Charming, do you need me to wipe your back? I'm happy to help." "No need." Biming's voice sounded like he was gnashing his teeth. "My Prince Charming, I'm so dizzy. I want to go in and lie down for a while." "Don't worry, I'll go in with my eyes closed. You can wash yourself." Chujiu simply knocked open the door and rushed into the bedroom. Biming did not expect Chujiu to be such a hooligan. She barged in and shouted angrily, "Black thing, get out of here right now, or I won't forgive you." Chujiu said with a smile, "My Prince Charming, why are you so excited? I can't do anything to you. Besides, it's not like I haven't helped you take a bath before. Come, I'll help you wipe your back." Biming was about to imprison Chujiu, this thick-skinned girl, when he heard Feng shouting in panic, "My lord, Miss Jiu, the palace mistress is here." Chujiu and Biming were stunned. Chujiu looked at Biming's shoulder reluctantly. "Old hag, why did you come at this time? I'm so angry. Prince Charming, take your time to wash up. I'll go out and have a good chat with our mother." Chujiu jumped out with a smile. Chapter 677. Does my new hairstyle look good? When Di Baiming heard Chujiu say our mother, he felt a warm sensation in his heart. Then, he recalled the palace mistress' reaction when she found out about little Jiu's accident. He felt that perhaps the relationship between the two of them could be improved. Moreover, his body was indeed too dirty. Therefore, after he activated the protective array, he planned to finish his shower before meeting his mother. When Chujiu left the house, she saw a luxurious flying spirit tool flying over. A moment later, the flying spirit tool landed. The cabin door opened, and 8 beautiful women came out. After laying the snow-white carpet, Manager Luo helped the palace mistress off the flying spirit tool. Although Chujiu did not like it, she still had to have basic manners. She smiled and bowed. Hello, palace mistress. I haven't seen you for a few days, and you look even more beautiful now. Do you have a beauty formula? Otherwise, why are you getting more and more beautiful? The palace mistress was secretly happy. She had always been very confident in her beauty. She said arrogantly, there is no beauty formula, it's just natural beauty. Chujiu. Pretty boy, I finally know who you learned your narcissism from. The palace mistress saw that Chujiu was still alive. She was very disappointed. Didn't you say that something happened to you? Where's Baiming? After hearing that something happened to Chujiu from Di Baiming, the palace mistress was happy. She felt that it was better to personally confirm it. What if the little bastard lied to her? Now that she saw that Chujiu was alive and kicking, she was even more certain that Di Baiming was lying to her. She felt even more displeased with Chujiu. It was all because of this little trash. Otherwise, why would Baiming behave so differently recently? How hateful. When Chujiu heard what the palace mistress said, she cursed in her heart. You old witch, judging from your tone. Why do you wish for her to die? Chujiu did not say anything since she was unhappy. Manager Luo placed a piece of snow-white cloth on the stone table and took out a chair with exquisite workmanship. He also took out a pot of tea and poured a cup of tea for the palace mistress. After the palace mistress sat down, she picked up the teacup and took a sip of the tea. When she saw that Chujiu had not answered her, she condescendingly looked at Chujiu. Why is this little girl so much fairer than last time? But, what the hell is this bandage on her head? What is this bandage on your head? What kind of strange clothes are you wearing? You are so petty. I have a handkerchief on my head. Isn't it a rather unique style, especially those 2 little tails? Aren't they very cute? Chujiu said with a smile. The palace mistress curled her lips in disdain. Chic. Cute. You might as well wear gold on your face. It's simply nondescript. Hurry up and take it off. Palace mistress, do you really want me to take it off? Chujiu asked with a smile. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Hurry up and take it off. It's really an eyesore. The palace mistress simply found Chujiu displeasing and took the opportunity to find fault with her. Chujiu sighed. You really want me to take it off? The palace mistress snorted. Why? Are you trying to go against me? Chujiu smiled sweetly at her, and then abruptly took off the handkerchief. La la la. Palace mistress, do you think my new hairstyle is shiny? The tea in the palace mistress' mouth spurted out in a puff. Fortunately, Chujiu dodged fast enough, otherwise she would have been drenched in tea. Chapter 678. He wanted to give you a surprise. Chujiu looked at Manager Luo with displeasure. Manager Luo, how can you pour such hot tea for the palace mistress? Look at how hot it is. Manager Luo knew that Chujiu was giving the palace mistress a way out, so he could only say, Mistress, this servant recognizes his failings and will be sure to correct it. This servant will pour it for you again. The palace mistress took out a handkerchief to wipe the corner of her mouth and waved her hand. It's none of your business. Little trash, you are simply. The palace mistress was so angry that she did not know what to say. However, on second thought, not that this little trash had become bald, Baiming might get tired of her. The uglier she was, the better. Palace mistress, do you also think that my new hairstyle is very shiny? This is the symbol of wisdom. As the saying goes, a smart head doesn't have hair. Chujiu said mischievously. Palace mistress Manager Luo, the 8 maids, and Feng and the others who were speechless in the corner. The palace mistress had huge doubts about her son's vision. Son, in your path to adulthood, have you gone astray somewhere? Why do you like such thick-skinned trash? Your taste is too unique. Madam Palace Mistress, do you think what I said makes sense? Come, don't just stand there, I'll pour you a cup of tea. Drinking tea is so monotonous. Manager Luo, bring out 2 plates of desserts. Yin Chujiu sat across from the palace head's wife where she shamelessly took out a teacup, poured herself a cup of tea, and sipped on it. Manager Luo had not recovered from Yin Chujiu's words just now, and had taken out 2 plates of pastries from her storage ring, and placed them on the stone table. As soon as Manager Luo put down the pastries, Yin Chujiu happily reached out her hands and picked up a piece of pastry. As she ate, she said, Mrs. Palace Master, your pastries taste really good. Don't stand on ceremony. Eat some too. And Feng, who was in the corner, felt that green smoke was coming out of Mrs. Palace Master's head. He lit a candle for her in his heart. Even though they were so worrisome, they were still tortured by Miss Jiu to the point of speechlessness. You are just asking for trouble. The palace mistress took a deep breath. Little trash, where's Bei Ming? Yin Chujiu did not say a word. This old witch and the pretty boy were indeed from the same family. One called her little trash, and the other called her black thing. Both of them were not good people. Little trash, let me ask you, where's Bei Ming? The palace mistress slammed the table. You mean Brother Bei Ming? Brother Bei Ming is in the house. He wanted to give you a surprise, so he has been hiding in the house. You should call out to him, I'm sure he'll come out. Yin Chujiu took a mouthful of snacks and a mouthful of tea. It was so nourishing. The palace mistress was stunned. Give her a surprise? What surprise? Bei Ming had always had a poker face since he was young. He had never said anything about giving her a surprise. Could it be that he was trying to please her because of this little trash? Although the palace mistress did not show it on the surface, she was looking forward to it. She called out to the house, Bei Ming, come out for a moment. Bei Ming had just finished showering when he heard the palace mistress calling out to him. After tidying up briefly, he pushed open the door and walked out. The palace mistress immediately saw Bei Ming's shiny bald head. She thought that she had seen something wrong and took a closer look before jumping up from her chair in shock. Bei Ming, where's your hair? Why did you become bald? Chapter 679. My mother likes you very much in her heart. Bei Ming felt very gratified when he saw the palace mistress and Yin Chujiu sitting together eating snacks. He felt that if he said that his hair had been struck by lightning, the palace mistress would vent her anger on Yin Chujiu. So he said, Mother, the weather has been a little hot recently, so I changed my hairstyle. The palace mistress was so angry that she was trembling. She pointed at Yin Chujiu and scolded, Little trash. Tell me, was this your doing? Bei Ming usually pays attention to his image, but I didn't expect him to be influenced by a little trash like you and turned into a bald man. I must beat you to death today. Yin Chujiu quickly jumped behind Bei Ming. She revealed her little head and said pitifully, Palace mistress, you wronged me. Not only did I not influence Brother Bei Ming, but he was the one who influenced me to shave all my hair. Woo, I'm just a girl. I won't be able to see anyone in the future. You're spouting nonsense. Why would Bei Ming come up with such a stupid idea? It must be because a little trash like you was afraid that other girls would go after Bei Ming, so you influenced him to shave all his hair. I'm going to slap you to death today. The palace mistress was so angry that she was about to explode. Mom, little Jiu is right. This was all my idea. Besides, if you apply the hair growth pill, your hair will grow back in a few days. Why are you so angry? Didn't you and little Jiu have a good chat just now? Bei Ming defended Yin Chujiu behind him and said helplessly, I had a good chat with her? Bei Ming, no wonder you fell in love with this little trash. There is something wrong with your eyes. The palace mistress returned to her seat angrily. Yin Chujiu took out a handkerchief and tied it on her head. She pulled Bei Ming to sit beside the stone table. Palace mistress, please don't be angry. Let's continue drinking tea and chat. By the way, that snack is quite delicious. When you leave some for me and Brother Bei Ming. The palace mistress glared at Chujiu fiercely. Eat, eat, eat. What else can you do besides eating? You little trash, I want to see where you'll end up in 5 years. Not only was Chujiu not angry, she was actually moved. Brother Biming, I told you that your mother is a sharp tongue but soft heart, right? She said that she hated me and so on, but in fact, she was very concerned about me. She was afraid that I wouldn't be able to complete the mission if I didn't cultivate properly. She urged me at any time and place. I was touched. Palace mistress, don't worry, I will work hard in my cultivation, and strive to enter the top 100 of the Tianyuan Academy's prodigy roll as soon as possible. When that time comes, I will be filial to you. The palace mistress was shocked by Chujiu's delusions. She had never seen anyone with such thick skin among the people she had come into contact with. Where it was any other girl, she would have covered her face and wept long ago. This fellow was good. Not only was she not overwhelmed with grief and indignation, she was even able to turn black and white upside down. She was trying to make herself look good. She was too shameless. Biming saw the palace mistress' shocked expression, and could not help but laugh in his heart. However, he said with a serious expression, Yep. Little Jiu, what you said makes sense. My mother likes you very much in her heart, but she doesn't know how to express it. The palace mistress looked at Biming with a shocked expression. Is this still my son who never smiles? Why is it so natural for him to lie through his teeth? Brother Biming, I know. Actually, I like elders like the palace mistress the most. I will not let down the palace mistress' painstaking efforts. I will definitely cultivate well, and try my best to fulfill the palace mistress' request as soon as possible. When that time comes, we will be able to be filial to the palace mistress together. Chujiu said with a bright smile. Chapter 680. Once he has found a wife, he would forget about his own mother. When the palace mistress saw Biming and Chujiu chiming in, she was so angry that she wanted to brush her sleeves and leave. However, when she heard Chujiu say the word filial, she had a new idea. Hence, she said indifferently, Little trash, are you just saying that? Do you truly want to be filial to me? Chujiu nodded obediently. Of course I meant it sincerely. Do you have something you want me to do? My shoulder is a little sore. Help me massage it. The palace mistress said coldly. She thought to herself, I'll torture you. If you're mad at me, I don't believe that Beiming will still protect you. Massage your shoulders? Sure, I'm the best at it. I often massage Brother Beiming's shoulders. Chujiu did not hesitate at all. She stood up and walked behind the palace mistress and began massaging her. Didn't you just finish your snack? Use more strength. Are you trying to kill me? Be gentle. Go down a little. Are you massaging my shoulders or my neck? Go up a little. I asked you to massage my shoulders, not my waist. The palace mistress was pure-hearted and kept picking on Chujiu. Chujiu was all smiles and did not refute her words. She was extremely obedient. Biming could not stand it anymore and said, Mother, if your shoulders are not feeling well, get a maid to help you. How would little Jiu know how to make it feel better? Little Jiu, stop massaging it. Sit down and chat with my mother. The palace mistress was so angry that she gritted her teeth. How is this my son? I have simply raised an ingrate. Once he has found a wife, he would forget about his own mother. Chujiu said with a smile. Brother Biming, it's all right. I can't learn from this. For the sake of being filial to the palace mistress, I am willing to try no matter how tired I am. The palace mistress was so angry that her liver hurt. Although this little trash's spiritual power was not that great, she was too scheming. Even my foolish son would not be able to win against her. Forget it. There's no need for you. Didn't you say that you know how to grill meat? Since I'm hungry, why don't you grill some meat for me to eat? The palace mistress intentionally wanted to torment Chujiu. All right. My skills in roasting meat are very good. You'll see. Chujiu agreed and started to get busy like a hard-working little bee. The two little tails behind Chujiu's head trembled, and Biming's heart softened. Little Jiu's thoughts were clear, and she would definitely be able to see that his mother was intentionally making things difficult for her. But she still tried her best to please his mother. It must be because she cared about his feelings. When the palace mistress saw Di Biming looking at Chujiu lovingly, her heart felt even more stifled. This little trash did not play by the rules at all. She thought that if she were to make things difficult for her, she would definitely go against her like last time. She did not expect that this time, she would be obedient. How troublesome. Chujiu's hands and feet were very nimble, and in a short while, she had roasted a wind-blade rabbit. She used a large kitchen knife to slice the rabbit meat thinly, and gave it to the palace mistress. Palace mistress, when I roasted it, I specially brushed it with eupatorium honey. Try it. How does it taste? Initially, the palace mistress did not want to eat it, but when she smelled the alluring aroma of the roasted meat, she could not help but pick up a piece and put it into her mouth. This rabbit meat was roasted perfectly. It was crispy on the outside but tender on the inside. The sweetness of the honey was just right to neutralize the grease of the roasted meat. Unconsciously, the palace mistress ended up eating several pieces. Palace mistress, my roasted meat is not bad, right? Chujiu asked with a smile. The palace mistress only reacted when she heard Chujiu's question. She embarrassedly put down her chopsticks and said, "It's all right. Beiming, follow me to the Tianyuan continent immediately. I have something for you to do." Chapter 681. Holding hands and growing old together. Di Biming frowned slightly. "Mother, I'll go back in a few days. You should go back first. Also, you should try not to come to little Jiu's place in the future. I'm afraid that the things that happened back then will happen again." When the palace mistress heard Di Biming mention the things that happened back then, her expression became a little sorrowful. "Biming, mother is afraid that the history might repeat itself. That's why I strongly oppose you dating this little trash. Once something unfortunate happened, not only will she be unable to help you, she will also become a burden to you. She will even become your weakness." Di Biming's expression became solemn. "Mother, don't mention this again in the future. Not to mention little Jiu's amazing talent, she is not trash at all. Even if her spiritual power is really low, I don't think she is a burden. Since I like her, I have the responsibility to protect her and support her." Chujiu's heart warmed when she heard Di Biming's words. She stood up from the stone bench, straightened her back and said, "Brother Biming, I used to be mischievous and aloof. I didn't cultivate properly. Don't worry. From today onwards, I will definitely work hard. I will not become a burden to you. I want to stand side by side with you. No matter what difficulties and obstacles are ahead, we will face them together. I will hold your hand and grow old together with you. I will definitely not let you down." Di Biming and Chujiu's eyes met, and their eyes were filled with affection. "Enough. What you said sounded pretty good. We'll see in 5 years. Biming, you have to come back with me today, or else I won't be leaving. It's a good opportunity for the little trash to be filial to me." The palace mistress looked at the young couple, and suddenly thought of the past between her and Di Linhan. The two of them were on good terms. Logically speaking, as a mother, she should not break up the couple, but this little trash was really not suitable for Biming. For his sake, she could not be soft-hearted. Di Biming frowned and was about to say something when Chujiu said, "Brother Biming, you should go back with the palace mistress. I have just advanced to the first level of the Spirit Emperor realm. It's a good opportunity for me to cultivate for a period of time to stabilize my abilities." Seeing how serious Chujiu was, Di Biming thought that he had indeed stayed in the Azure Mystic Continent for a very long time. Hence he nodded. "All right, then I will come back to see you in a few days. Take good care of yourself. Keep these few concealment talismans and sudden rupture talismans. However, the sudden rupture talismans are extremely powerful. You must be careful when you use them. Don't hurt yourself." The palace mistress felt a little sour in her heart. This son of hers could usually solve a problem with just one word. He would never say 2 words. She did not expect that he would become a chatterbox in front of this little trash. Moreover, concealment talismans and sudden rupture talismans were not things that could be bought with money, yet he was willing to part with them so easily. However, this little trash had broken through to the first level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Why did she look like she was still at the 8th level of the spirit enhancement realm? Perhaps she was trying to deceive her by playing a double act with Biming. After the palace mistress and Biming left, Chujiu waved at Enfeng. Enfeng ran over and asked, "Ninth Miss, what can I do for you? Have you found out about the background of those men in black? Are they from the Heaven Gate Sect?" Chujiu thought about it in the cave. Only the Heaven Gate Sect would be able to gather 12 people at the level of Spirit Emperor realm to kill her. "Miss Jiu, those people are indeed the elders of the Heaven's Gate Sect in disguise. Your Excellency originally wanted us to kill them all. Later, he felt that it was better for you to deal with them yourself, so he didn't touch them for the time being." Chujiu nodded. "That's the right thing to do. If you kill people, you will inevitably be punished by the heavens. I will deal with my own enemies by myself. Let them run around for a few more days. When I am fully prepared, I will not let any of them go." Chapter 682. The Chimeric Plains. In the following month, Chujiu spent all her time cultivating in the courtyard, reinforcing what she learned so far. However, Chujiu was now faced with a difficult problem. She couldn't cultivate in seclusion all the time. She had to have actual combat experience to further improve. Just because the Heaven's Gate Sect did not manage to kill her last time does not mean they would give up so easily. As long as she kept moving about to gain experience, they would definitely send people to kill her. What should she do? She couldn't always let Elder Shao and the others protect her when she left the Spirit Radiance Sect grounds to gain experience, right? What would she learn from always relying on others? Chujiu gritted her teeth. Cultivation was full of dangers to begin with. She had always been timid. When would she be able to grow? She had to face the difficulties head-on. Thus, she went to find Master Xianyuan and told him about her thoughts. "Master Xianyuan, I plan to leave the grounds to train. This time, I plan to go alone and quietly in case I am targeted by the people of the Heaven's Gate Sect again." Master Xianyuan immediately shouted, "Nonsense! If anything happens to you, there would be no way for the rest of us to find out. Enfeng will go with me. The fewer people there are, the smaller the target. Besides, I plan to go to the Chimeric Plains to train. That place is tens of thousands of miles away. The hands of the Heaven's Gate Sect might not be able to reach that far." The Chimeric Plains? The demonic beasts there are extremely ferocious and the weather there is terrible. Why did you choose that place? Master Xianyuan asked in confusion. Firstly, that place is not within the sphere of influence of the 4 great sections. The Heaven's Gate Sect will not discover that I went there for training. Secondly, it is precisely because the demonic beasts there are ferocious and the weather there is terrible that it can increase my actual combat ability. Master Xianyuan, don't worry. I cherish my life very much. I will not act recklessly. Chujiu's gaze was firm. It was obvious that she had made up her mind. Master Xianyuan nodded. Little Jiu's Dao heart was stronger than before after experiencing these changes. This little girl would soar to the sky sooner or later. I should let her be. All right. Since you've made up your mind, I won't stop you. Keep this ring well. As long as you wear it, no one below the 5th level of the Spiritual Emperor realm will discover your true gender. Chujiu's eyes lit up. This ring suited her well. Thank you, Master Xianyuan. The matter of me going out to train must be kept a secret. Tell the others that I'm in closed-door cultivation. After Master Xianyuan agreed, Chujiu hopped back to her dormitory. Since she was going out on a long journey, she naturally had to make sufficient preparations. Other than some daily necessities, after Chujiu activated the isolation array in the courtyard, she refined several bottles of heaven-grade blood coagulation pills and exploding spirit pills. In the end, she and Enfeng activated their concealment talismans and slipped out of the Spirit Radiance Sect without anyone noticing. After the two of them were some distance away from the Spirit Radiance Sect, Enfeng summoned his flying spirit tool, and the two of them flew towards the Chimeric Plains. Chujiu and Enfeng had both disguised themselves. Chujiu had disguised herself as a young boy, and Enfeng's appearance had also been changed by Chujiu. Unless someone carefully identified them, they would not be able to recognize their true identities. Half a month later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Chimeric Plains. As the name implied, the Chimeric Plains climate was extremely strange. One moment it was still sunny, and the next moment, it was likely to be filled with snow. Therefore, the nature of the demonic beasts on the Chimeric Plains was extremely savage. They were much more powerful than the demonic beasts of the same level in the demonic beast forest. Chapter 683. All about pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Although the name of Chimeric Plains had the word plains, it was in fact not the only type of terrain there. There were high mountains, forests, and rivers. It was more like a hidden world isolated from the rest of the globe. After Chujiu and Enfeng landed, Enfeng put away the flying spirit tool. Enfeng, from now on, no matter whether you encounter demon beasts or cultivators, unless my life is in danger, don't help me. Chujiu said to Enfeng after adjusting her spiritual power level to the second level of spirit cultivator. Enfeng nodded. He took out a hidden spirit ring from his storage ring and put it on. After thinking for a while, he also adjusted his spiritual power level to the second layer of the spirit cultivator realm. Enfeng had long wanted to experience the feeling of pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. He finally had the chance. The outer area of the Chimeric Plains was still relatively calm. There were only some low-level demonic beasts. Chujiu couldn't be bothered to pay attention to them, and continued to walk inside. The weather of the Chimeric Plains was indeed strange. The two of them had walked less than 10 miles when suddenly, heavy snowfall started to fall from the sky. This was the first time Chujiu had seen snow since she transmigrated, and she couldn't help but feel a little excited. Along the way, she jumped up and down happily. The plants of the Chimeric Plains had also adapted to such unpredictable weather. The plants bloomed, and the fruits that were supposed to bear fruit were not affected by the snow at all. Chujiu was not afraid of being poisoned to death. When she saw wild fruits, she plucked them and stuffed them into her mouth. She felt that coming out to gain real-world experience was much better than staying in the Spirit Radiance sect. Chujiu also released Little Black Bird and Little Black Rat, letting them play outside. It was also a good opportunity for them to gain some experience against the enemy. When the flaming three-tailed fox king saw that the two had been released, it implored Chujiu, "Master, this king also wants to go out for a walk. Little Red, your three tails are too eye-catching. What if they attract high-level cultivators?" Every time the three-tailed fox king heard the name Little Red, it felt its balls shrink. It took a deep breath and said, "Master, I can hide one of my tails. That way, people will think that I'm a two-tailed fox and won't care." "Oh, you have that ability? It turns out that the 3 beats that I took in are all fakes," Chujiu said as she released the flaming three-tailed fox king. As expected, the flaming three-tailed fox king only had 2 tails left. It was just that the color of its fur was a little brighter than the usual 2-tailed scarlet flame fox. There was no difference in other things. Moreover, its spiritual power level had also become a corresponding level 4. The flaming three-tailed fox king looked down on Little Black Rat and Little Black Bird. It simply could not understand why its master wanted to take in these 2 idiots. One was an ugly Tier 3 fire-breathing crow, while the other was a Tier 3 stone-eating rat that only knew how to chew on ores. It was simply too weak. It could not even be compared to 1/10,000 of this king's power. Little Black Bird had long disliked this smelly fox. It clearly looked down on him. "Just you wait, I'll let you know how powerful I am as sooner or later." After Chujiu advanced, Little Black Bird also broke through to become a Tier 8 demon beast. However, he was the same as Chujiu. Others could not see its true spiritual power level, so he lowered himself to a Tier 3 fire-breathing crow. Little Black Rat looked like a Tier 3 demonic beast, but it was very low-key. Little Black Rat secretly said to Little Black Bird, "Little Black Bird GG, that stinky fox is nothing special. It barks so much every day. You better teach it a lesson. Don't worry, I will help you. I will support you spiritually." Little Black Bird. Unfortunately, since he had already turned him down, he could only force himself to say, "It's a small matter, watch how I'll deal with them." Little Black Rat had already dug a hole and hid. This kind of fighting and killing was not suitable for me. I'll just give them moral support. Miss Jiu, aren't you going to help them? And Feng thought to himself, what kind of master raised what kind of spirit beast? However, it seemed that among the three of them, the most shrewd fox was the dumbest. Chujiu said to Feng while chewing on the fruit, let's wait and see. These three silly munchkins of mine look stupid, but in fact, they all have their own ideas. They actually have the mind to bicker in front of a great enemy. It's not a bad idea to teach them a lesson. Chapter 685. Little Black Rat, do you have any other abilities? At this moment, the flaming three-tailed fox king's heart was on the verge of collapse. Although it was powerful, it could only deal with 5 of them. There was no way it could win against 15. However, since it had run its mouth, it couldn't possibly ask that ugly bird for help, right? The flaming three-tailed fox king rolled its eyes and suddenly jumped. With a whoosh, it leaped over the body of a fire-breathing ash wolf and instantly escaped the encirclement. Awo! 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 Flaming three-tailed fox king roared. A few of the fire-breathing ash wolves began to look confused. The flaming three-tailed fox king took the chance and threw a fireball at one of them. A fire-breathing ash wolf was hit by the fireball. It screamed and rolled on the ground. The fox king did not have the time to be proud. Several fireballs were thrown at it. The three-tailed fox king moved left and right. In the beginning, it was very agile. While it was dodging the fire-breathing ash wolves' attacks, it could occasionally retaliate. However, as time passed, it gradually grew tired. If it had not accepted a master, it would have escaped long ago. Although it could not beat the fire-breathing ash wolves, it would have no problem escaping. However, now it had returned in defeat after being assigned a mission by its master for the first time. It was too embarrassing. Therefore, the flaming three-tailed fox king could only hold on bitterly. Little Black Bird rolled his eyes. Although he could not stand the three-tailed fox's pretense, he could not just stand by and do nothing. Thus, he flapped his wings and flew over, throwing a huge fireball at the wolf pack. The flaming three-tailed fox king felt very conflicted when he saw Little Black Bird taking the initiative to help. However, he did not have the time to think too much in the face of a great enemy. He roused his spirit and threw himself into the battle. The bird and the fox gradually began to cooperate. After an hour, they had killed 7 of the fire-breathing ash wolves. However, the 2 of them were a little exhausted. Moreover, Little Black Bird could not fly too low. Those fire-breathing ash wolves could leap 30 feet high. If he were not careful, they might swallow Little Black Bird whole. Miss Jiu, I'm afraid they won't be able to hold on any longer. Aren't you going to make your move? Feng asked Chujiu, who was calm and composed when he saw that Little Black Bird and the flaming three-tailed fox king were at a disadvantage. What's the hurry? Isn't there another one hiding in the cave? Chujiu pointed at Little Black Rat, who was poking its head out of the cave. Miss Jiu, are you kidding me? What else can that stone-eating rat do besides gnawing on ore? Its combat strength is almost negligible, right? Feng asked amusingly. I used to think so too, but I think this little thing must be hiding a lot of things from me. Let's see. I have a heaven-grade blood coagulation pill here. It doesn't matter even if Little Red is injured, Chujiu said with a smile. Feng lit a candle in his heart for the flaming three-tailed fox king. Little Red, who asked you to treat your master this way? This is karma. Little Blackbird saw that the flaming three-tailed fox king was about to give up, so he was a little anxious. Therefore, he took the risk of flying lower to increase the accuracy of the fireballs. In a moment of carelessness, he was bitten by a fire-breathing ash wolf and fell to the ground. Just as Chujiu was about to help, she saw a black shadow jump in front of Little Blackbird. It was Little Black Rat. The fire-breathing ash wolf that bit Little Blackbird was about to swallow him when it saw Little Black Rat suddenly appear in front of it. Its eyes were filled with disdain, but having more food was a good thing, hence, it opened its bloody mouth and bit Little Black Rat. Chujiu raised her right hand and was about to kill the fire-breathing ash wolf, but Little Black Rat's next move stunned her. Chapter 686. The rat had another ability. Chujiu saw that after Little Black Rat jumped up, it stretched out its front paw and attacked the fire-breathing ash wolf. Yin Chujiu could not bear to look. Your little paw hitting the fire-breathing ash wolf would probably feel like a tickle. I thought you had some special ability. It turned out that it only tried to physically attack the wolf. Yin Chujiu was afraid that it would be at a disadvantage, so she wanted to help, but what happened next surprised her. The fire-breathing ash wolf was sent flying more than 100 feet by Little Black Rat's slap, and it fainted with a choking sound. Yin Chujiu's eyes were wide open. My goodness! How could such a small rat have so much strength? Yin Chujiu threw a heaven-grade blood coagulation pill to Little Black Bird, and then said to Little Black Rat, who seemed to glow now, Mickey Mouse, you did well. Keep working hard. I'll reward you with a piece of hazy ore in a while. Little Black Rat saw Little Black Bird fly up again, squeaked a few times, and rushed toward the fire-breathing ash wolf pack. An hour later, after the concerted efforts of the 3 silly munchkins, the fire-breathing ash wolf pack was annihilated. They did not understand what had happened until they died. How did 3 low-level spiritual beasts beat so many of us? It was simply a death that was too embarrassing to accept. The flaming 3-tailed fox king listlessly followed behind Little Black Bird and Little Black Rat. It felt ashamed at its arrogance earlier. These two were like wolves in sheep's clothing. Both of them were stronger than me. Woo-woo, this king was too ashamed. Yin Chujiu was suddenly interested in Little Black Rat. Mickey Mouse, you're really good at hiding things. You have such great strength, but you did not tell your master about it. It makes master sad. Little Black Rat said softly. Master, I only awakened my innate ability a few days ago after I advanced. Moreover, my ancestors told me that girls cannot be too cruel. Otherwise, they will not be able to marry. Yin Chujiu. Little sister Mickey Mouse, you don't have to worry. Big brother thinks that you were simply beautiful just now. There will be many beasts that will like a girl like you. Little Black Bird blinked his possessed eyes and said, cough cough. This king feels that a girl like you is the true beauty amongst beasts. If there is no beast to marry you, this king will marry you. The flaming 3-tailed fox king casually said to express his gratitude. Little Black Bird immediately exploded. Fuck, this is the sweetheart that I won over myself. Now you're trying to steal her away. I'll fight it out with you. The flaming 3-tailed fox king was shocked by Little Black Bird's sudden brutality. What was going on? Weren't they fighting side by side just now? Why did they suddenly turn against each other? What did I do wrong? Yin Chujiu was about to cry from the stupidity of the flaming 3-tailed fox king. There was no one else who could as stupid as this fox. Speaking of which, how did it become the fox king in the first place? Could it be that this intelligence was the smartest among the group? Yin Chujiu could not be bothered with those 3 clowns. She put away the fire-breathing ash wolves' corpses on the ground, and continued to walk forward. And Fong felt a wave of envy in his heart. TSK, look at 9th Mississippi. It was one thing if she had a heavenly thunder spirit root, but she actually had 3 such awesome spirit pets. Although they were not particularly strong now, but in time, those 3 silly munchkins would become real monsters. Senior brother Helion, that 2-tailed scarlet flame fox's fur is too beautiful. Go and catch it for me. I want to use its fur to make a cloak. Junior sister Lianxin, just you wait. Senior brother will help you catch that little bastard right now. Yin Chujiu felt thunder rolling in the sky. Were there really such stupid people in this world? He wanted to catch someone else's spirit pet in front of the owner? They had it coming for them. Chapter 687. Asking for a beating. Yin Chujiu turned around and saw 6 people behind her made up of 5 young men escorting a woman. The woman's face was delicate and her figure was graceful, but the arrogant look on her face really made people dislike her. I'm sorry, this 2-tailed scarlet flame fox is my spiritual pet. Please don't do anything to it. Yin Chujiu saw that there was a pattern depicting a goshawk embroidered on the lower left corner of the 6 people's clothes, so she felt that these people might be from the same group. It was better not to make enemies, so she spoke politely. The woman saw Yin Chujiu turn around and saw that she and Enfeng both wore ordinary clothes. She curled her lips disdainfully and said, Poor girl, since that 2-tailed scarlet flame fox is yours, it makes things easier. Name a price, I want to buy it. Sorry, I'm not selling it. Chujiu put the 3 silly munchkins into her storage ring and turned around to leave. Stop. It's your lucky day that junior sister Lianqin has taken a fancy to your spirit beast. Hurry up and hand over that 2-tailed scarlet flame fox. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. A man with a hooked nose said arrogantly. Chujiu sneered. Impolite? How impolite? The young man with the hooked nose looked at Chujiu with disdain. In the Chimeric plains, only the strong are respected. Even if we kill you, no one will dare to say a thing. Cut the crap and hand over the 2-tailed scarlet flame fox, or I'll kill you. The flaming 3-tailed fox king was already furious in the spirit beast pouch. Bastard. You actually want to skin me? Master, let me out. Let me burn these 6 dregs to death. Chujiu comforted the flaming 3-tailed fox king for a while, then said to the hook-nosed man indifferently, The strong are respected? Then if I kill you, no one will bother me in the future? The 6 people could not help but laugh out loud. The hook-nosed man said arrogantly, You are only at the 2nd layer of the spirit cultivator realm. And the 6 of us are all at the 3rd layer of the spirit cultivator realm. How can you beat us? Besides, you dare offend our Goshawk sect in the Chimeric plane? You have a death wish. Chujiu was stunned, and then she laughed until tears almost came out. The Goshawk sect? There is actually a sect called the Goshawk sect? Ha ha ha, is there a mosquito sect next? The hook-nosed man flew into a rage out of humiliation. Brat. How dare you insult our Goshawk sect? You're courting death. After the hook-nosed man finished speaking, he threw a few wind blades at Chujiu. Chujiu's eyes deepened. Since he had attacked so ruthlessly, don't blame her for overreacting. After Chujiu dodged a few wind blades, her body instantly appeared behind the hook-nosed man like a phantom. She kicked him, and the hook-nosed man was sent flying hundreds of feet away before he fainted. Chujiu did not stop there. She turned around and kicked the woman's stomach. Damn it. I told you not to bother us. You asked for this. The woman did not expect to be kicked by Chujiu without her saying a word. In addition, the difference in spiritual power was so large that she was sent flying. The other 4 men only reacted at this time. All kinds of spiritual power attacks came at Chujiu. Chujiu moved around, and did not use her lightning at all. She just relied on her agile movement to kick the 4 people to the ground. These little dregs were far inferior to the skills of those flaming 3-tailed foxes. And Feng, who watched at the side, was a little speechless. How did Miss Jiu become so agile? She was twice as fast now compared to when she fell into the hole. Chapter 688. The Goshawk sect. After Chujiu restrained the spiritual power of the 6 people, she kicked them together like a soccer ball. The faces of the 6 people were all scratched by spiritual plants on the ground. And when the woman saw that her proud face was scratched, her eyes were filled with a vicious light. Chujiu didn't care about it and said with a smile, Come on, who can tell me about the Goshawk sect? If you say something useful, I will let you go while I will kill the rest of your group. There is only one chance. Which one of you will speak up? The eyes of the 6 people flickered, and the hook-nosed man said with a fierce expression, Brat, if you dare harm any of us, the Goshawk sect will not let you off. Chujiu drew a sword from his waist and pointed it at his neck. The hook-nosed man screamed and fell to the ground. This time, do you believe me? Who will tell me what I want to know? Or do you all want to die? Chujiu held up the sword and asked with a smile. However, in the eyes of the 5 people, that was the most threatening smile they have seen. One of the men shouted, I will. I'll tell you everything. The woman said fiercely, Don't. I'll do it. The eyes of the other 3 men flickered. One of the men said loudly, Junior sister Lianqin, we usually let do as you wish. This time we cannot since it's a matter of life and death. Young hero, I will tell you what you want to know. Dang sure, what do you know? Young hero, I have more knowledge than him. Let me be the one to tell you. Young hero, I'm the oldest here, and I know more than the rest. Ask me. Seeing the 4 of them like this, the woman cursed angrily. You dare defy me? My father won't forgive you. The eyes of the 4 of them flickered. They couldn't care less about the consequences now. It was more important to save their own skin. Chujiu smiled faintly. How about this? I'll give each of you a chance to tell me something useful. Whoever provides the most detail, I'll let them go. The 5 of them scrambled to tell Chujiu everything they knew. They were afraid that they would lose out to the rest, so they just spilled everything, regardless of whether it was useful or not. Chujiu summarized what they said, and she had a rough understanding of the Goshawk sect. Although the weather on the Chimeric plain was harsh, there were many unique herbs and demonic beasts. Therefore, people saw a business opportunity and came to buy herbs and demonic beast materials. As time passed, 100 miles away from the Chimeric plain, lay Chimeric City. In the city were many shops and merchants frequented by cultivators. The power of the mayor of Chimeric City grew bigger and bigger, and eventually, the Goshawk sect was established. The Goshawk sect was medium-sized, and on about the same level as the Zhou family that Chujiu had destroyed. There were 6 people above the Spirit Emperor realm, more than 20 spirit cultivators, and the rest were all at the spirit enhancement level. These 6 people were all inner sect disciples, and the woman was the biological daughter of the current sect master, Qian. The 6 of them had also come to the Chimeric plains for training. The sect members often came to this area for training, so the symbol of the Goshawk sect was widely recognized by others. Therefore, the 6 of them had always been able to do as they pleased. Who would have thought that they would stub their toes today? Chujiu thought about it. Even the strongest dragon could not defeat a snake that knew its surroundings. Moreover, she did not have anything against them, so she said, "If each of you give me 100,000 spirit stones and I will let you go. Otherwise, I'll kill you and leave your bodies in the Chimeric plains. Your Goshawk sect can't do anything to me." Chapter 689. Qian's plan. When the 5 of them heard this, they immediately nodded their heads in agreement. The Goshawk sect guarded Chimeric City and were extremely wealthy. They also benefited from it and had a small fortune with them. Chujiu released their spiritual power shackles. The 5 of them did not have the intention to escape at all. Although they were arrogant, they were not stupid. Just now, this kid did not even use her spiritual power, and they were already defeated. She was definitely not a second-level spirit cultivator on the surface. The 5 of them obediently handed the spirit stones to Chujiu. Chujiu pointed at the man lying on the ground and said, "He's not dead yet. Feed him a hemostatic pill, wake him up, and let him pay for his life." The 5 of them were scared out of their wits earlier, so they didn't check on their fellow sect member. Now that they looked, they realized that the chest of the man that lay on the ground still heaved up and down. Obviously, he was not dead yet. They quickly fed him a pill, and only then did the man wake up. The hook-nosed man didn't dare to make a peep. He obediently handed over 100,000 spirit stones, and the 6 of them ran away. "Miss Jiu, aren't you afraid that they'll go back to the Goshawk sect and plan to take revenge on you?" And Feng asked. "Even if we kill them, the Goshawk sect will find us sooner or later. After they return, if the Goshawk sect is tactful enough, they will leave us alone. If they insist on seeking revenge, I'm not afraid. It'll be a good opportunity to use them as practice." Although Chujiu was afraid of the Goshawk sect, she did not care too much about them. And Feng did not ask any further when he heard that. He, Chujiu, and the 3 silly munchkins were not afraid of them. Moreover, the Goshawk sect would not possibly send the entire sect to go after them. It was not worth worrying too much over them. After the 6 of them returned to the Goshawk sect, the woman Lianxin angrily went to find the Goshawk sect's sect master, Qian. "Father, you must avenge your daughter." Qian looked at his daughter, who was in a sorry state, and flew into a rage. "Who dares to hit my daughter? Lianxin, tell me who beat you up like this." Lianxin told him everything. "Father, senior brother Helian and the others usually treat me well, but they abandoned me at the critical moment. Also, that kid is very strange. She seems to be at the 2nd layer of the spirit cultivator realm. But he defeated all 6 of us without using any spiritual powers. The person next to him didn't even make a move." Qian pondered for a moment after listening. "Lianxin, I will help you deal with the other 5 sect members. As for those 2 people, I happen to be taking some people to Chimeric Plains. At that time, I'll discuss the real situation with them, and then come up with a plan. I don't want us to offend the people we can't afford to offend. Father, you are too careful. No one from the 4 great sects will come to the Chimeric Plains. Which force can possibly compare to our Goshawk sect here? Lu Lianxin said unhappily. Lu Qian laughed out loud. My good daughter, there is always someone better than you. You can't be so conceited. However, don't worry. As long as Father's trip is successful, from now on, even the 4 great sects will be beneath my notice. Lu Liangxin's eyes lit up. Father, is that true? Why do you want to go to the Chimeric Plains? I will go with you. Lu Qian frowned. This trip is of great importance. Don't go around causing trouble. Stay here and help me keep an eye on things. Lu Lianxin saw Lu Qian's serious expression, and didn't dare to say anything more. She described Yin Chujiu and Enfeng's appearance to Lu Qian. She especially mentioned Yin. Chapter 690. Happily 8 more Yin Chujiu and Enfeng, who was just missed by Lu Qian, walked into a dense forest. This dense forest was truly a dense forest. Tall trees blotted out the sky and the sun, and many vines grew on them. Even though it was daytime, only a little bit of sunlight penetrated through the gaps between the vines and the leaves. Fortunately, Yin Chujiu had the illuminating pearl with her, which was hung on her chest to illuminate the place. It was inevitable for people to feel uneasy when they walked in such a dense forest. They were afraid that a demon beast would jump out from somewhere. Yin Chujiu carefully walked in with a rolling pin in her hand, while Enfeng followed behind her to keep an eye on the surrounding situation. Enfeng, something is wrong. Why haven't we encountered any demon beasts? Miss Jiu, I'm afraid this place is a little strange. You must be careful. Before Enfeng could finish his sentence, a strange sound came from underground. It was as if something was running around beneath them. Yin Chujiu and Enfeng were startled. They subconsciously jumped onto the trees nearby to hide. However, before Yin Chujiu could stand still, the vines suddenly turned into poisonous snakes and wrapped around her. Enfeng was in the same situation. The vines here were densely packed, and before he could react, he was already wrapped up like a rice dumpling. Enfeng's heart sank. This was bad. The vines wrapped tighter and tighter, and he could not break free at all. Moreover, his hands were wrapped up, and he could not form seals or use his spiritual power. What should he do? At that moment, Yin Chujiu and Enfeng finally understood what the underground noise was. It was a trap to make them jump up the trees to avoid it. Then these vines would capture them. It was probably the roots of these vines underground. These vines were really cunning. Just as Enfeng was worrying, 2 middle-aged men walked over from not far away. When they saw Yin Chujiu and Enfeng tied to the tree, the 2 of them looked at each other and laughed out loud. These 2 idiots still think that anyone can brave the Chimeric Plains? They entered the spirit-sapping forest without first investigating it. They're simply walking to their deaths. That's right. However, this is a good thing for us. These spirit-sapping vines only absorb people's spirit energy. Without their spirit energy, killing them will be effortless. Their storage rings will be ours. That fool seems to have an illuminating pearl hanging on her chest. Good boy, that's a valuable piece of treasure. You're right. This is my favorite kind of deal. One that doesn't involve any effort. Those vines will secrete an extremely corrosive mucus in a moment. In less than an hour, their spiritual power will be completely absorbed. The 2 of them happily chatted and laughed. They did not care about the noise underground. Those vines could only be used on those who jumped onto the tree, but they could not do anything to those who were on the ground. Therefore, the 2 of them crossed their arms and watched Yin Chujiu and Enfeng make a fool of themselves. Enfeng thought for a long time, but could not come up with any good ideas. His hands and feet were tightly bound, and even though he had many abilities, he would not be able to use them. He could only seize the opportunity before his spiritual power was completely absorbed, and use his spiritual power to break the vines. Enfeng was frowning as he tried to break the vines bit by bit when he heard a cracking sound. He saw Yin Chujiu, who was on the tree next to him, bite the vines. The 2 people below were stunned at first. Then they burst into laughter. They were so happy that tears were about to fall. Fuck. Where did this idiot come from? Does he think that these are ordinary vines? These spirit-sapping vines are poisonous. If he does that, he'll die faster. Isn't it better to die faster? We can leave this spirit-sapping vine forest before dark after we loot their storage rings. Just as the two of them were talking happily, they heard a series of cracking sounds. When they looked up, they saw that not only was the young man not dead, but he happily ate more of the vines. Chapter 691. Who the hell is little Madman? The two of them were confused. What's going on? How was he not poisoned? Besides, what were those teeth made of? The spirit-sapping vine is very strong. Chujiu originally wanted to release Little Black Bird to burn those vines, but the strange grass in her dantian clamored for her to eat those vines. Chujiu felt that the strange grass behaved well recently, so she listened to it when it told her to eat the vines. This way Little Black Bird's abilities would not be exposed. Chujiu chewed for a while, and the strange grass in her dantian signaled for Chujiu to just suck the poison from the vines. Therefore, Chujiu drank the poison as if she were drinking water through a straw. The two people below saw the vine that bound Chujiu wither at a speed visible. This was unbelievable. Seeing that the vine on her body had withered, Chujiu jumped onto the tree where Infeng was. She took a bite at the vine and continued to absorb water. The spirit-sapping vine sensed the danger and desperately tried to pull away. Chujiu would not let it succeed. She held onto it tightly and refused to let it go. She sipped on it until it tasted sweet. Not long after, the spirit-sapping vine also withered. The two people under the tree looked at each other. That kid was a little strange. However, they stood and watched and even mocked the two caught in the vines. They probably would not let it go. They might as well make the first move. The two people attacked Infeng and Chujiu at almost the same time. Infeng and Chujiu dodged several wind blades. Young master, keep sucking on the spirit-sapping vines. Leave these two to me. Infeng was filled with anger just now. He thought that he Infeng was a well-known figure, but he did not expect to fall into this small forest of spirit-sapping vines. It was fine if you did not save them, but you even mocked and ridiculed them. What made him even angrier was that they did not retaliate yet you attacked us first. You two really have a death wish. Infeng's words made Chujiu extremely happy. This was because the strange grass in her body was screaming happily for Chujiu to absorb more of the spirit-sapping vine's juice. Hence, Chujiu ignored the two of them and jumped onto a tree beside them. Before the spirit-sapping vine could wrap itself around her, she grabbed a vine and took a bite, continuing to absorb the poison. The two people under the tree could not help but feel happy when they saw that. These two people were brainless. Both of them were at the third layer of the spirit cultivator realm, and these two people were only at the second layer of the spirit cultivator realm. They actually wanted to deal with them alone. They were really asking for death. Infeng sneered and threw a few wind blades at the two of them. The two of them were shocked when they saw Infeng's wind blades. Oh crap! This person actually hid his spiritual power. Chujiu was happily absorbing the poison when she suddenly remembered that Infeng would be punished by heaven if he killed someone, so she shouted, "Little Madman, just incapacitate them. I'll end their worthless lives myself." Infeng stumbled. Who the hell was this little madman? The two of them saw that Infeng was in a daze and took the chance to escape the forest. Infeng sneered and threw a few wind blades at their backs. The two of them screamed and fell to the ground. Chujiu jumped over and took their lives with a rolling pin. Little madman, go search your body. I'll drink some more spirit vine sap to fill my stomach. At the critical moment, I might need it to save my life. Infeng opened his mouth and wanted Chujiu to change his name. After thinking for a while, he decided to give up. Miss Jiu's skill in naming was terrible. Little madman it was. He only had to bear with it for a few days. Chapter 692. Little Blackbird's specialty. Infeng took off their storage rings and scanned them with his spiritual sense. He did not expect to find so many spirit stones in them. It seems that they had taken advantage of many others in similar situations before. Chujiu sucked the poison from the vines. Damn plant. You wanted to suck out all my spiritual power? I'll turn the tables and suck you dry instead. Let's see how you harm others after this. That spirit sapping vine was really unlucky. Although they were demonic plants, their spiritual power level was not that high and they could not move their bodies. They could only watch helplessly as Chujiu sucked out the poison in their vines. And Feng, who was watching from the side, clicked his tongue. The heavenly spirit root was indeed different from ordinary people. Whether the spirit sapping vine's juice was poisonous or not was another matter. However, wasn't Miss Jo's stomach tolerating it too well? How many vines had she sucked already? Yet she still had no intention of stopping. It was not until the sun set that Chujiu finished sucking all the spirit sapping vine's poison into her stomach. The spirit sapping vines withered without the poison, but they did not die. It would just take some time before they could replenish the poison again. Chujiu originally planned to burn down the forest, but on second thought, since this place had existed for thousands of years, it had a reason for existing. If she burned it down, it might upset the balance here. Forget it, let them live. Little Madman, let's go. There's no one here. I'll call you that from now on in case I slip up. You should also call me Young Master. Yes, Young Master. And Feng resigned himself to his fate and followed Chujiu out of the spirit sapping vine forest. Little Madman. It was better than that flower's name. In comparison, Little Madman was not too bad, right? Outside the spirit sapping vine forest was a valley. Under the moonlight, it looked somewhat hazy and beautiful. However, after Chujiu and Feng went through the spirit sapping vine forest, they became even more cautious. These chimeric plains were full of hidden dangers. They had to be ready for the unexpected. The two of them took turns to be on night watch duty. Chujiu was on duty in the first half of the night, and Feng the second half. Chujiu also put the 3 silly munchkins on night duty. Extra sets of eyes always helped. Sure enough, Chujiu had just fallen asleep in a daze for a short while when Feng shouted, "Young Master, there are demonic beasts coming." Chujiu opened her eyes and saw a group of dark things crawling over from afar. Little Madman, what the hell are those things? Chujiu thought to herself. Fortunately, she did not have a fear of crawling things, or else she would have vomited. They don't look like demonic beasts but demonic insects. Although the level of these demonic insects' spiritual power is not too high, there are a lot of them. If things look bad, we should get on our swords and escape. Chujiu nodded. When she got closer, she realized that it was a large group of poison hook centipedes. These poison hook centipedes were different from ordinary centipedes. Each of their legs were like iron hooks which could inject lethal venom into their victims. Once their skin was pierced by the poison hook centipedes, they would die on the spot. Little Blackbird was immediately happy. "Master, this is my specialty. Leave it to me. I will immediately get rid of these stinking pests." Chujiu let Little Blackbird out and yawned. "All right. I'll leave it to you then. I'll go back to sleep. I'm so sleepy." Chujiu lay down again and closed her eyes. And Feng was dumbfounded. "Miss Jo, are you that sleepy?" Although Little Blackbird was quite powerful, there were hundreds of poison hook centipedes in this group. No matter how powerful Little Blackbird was, he couldn't kill so many of them. "Little Madman, step aside and watch me," Little Blackbird said to Feng. Chapter 693. The diligent and thrifty Chujiu Feng was not surprised to know that Little Blackbird could speak to humans. However, could it be that Little Blackbird was also talking in his sleep? Forget it, he would just watch from the side. If Little Blackbird was no match for the centipedes, he would wake Miss Jo up. Little Blackbird flapped its wings, but it did not fly up. It just stared at the poison hook centipedes with its bean-like eyes. The poison hook centipedes crawled over aggressively. Although they were only rank 3 demonic beasts, there were a large number of them. It could be said they were invincible when they attacked in a swarm. Seeing that their prey did not try to escape, they crawled even faster. However, they found that their feet started to tremble as they approached the bird. Although rank 3 demonic beasts had some intelligence, it was still limited. They did everything based on instinct. When they felt some kind of powerful pressure, and they did not dare take another step forward. And Feng looked at the situation in front of him with a dumbfounded expression. What was wrong with those poison hook centipedes? Why were they trembling and had stopped moving? Little Black Bird threw a big fireball at the poison hook centipedes. The poison hook centipedes immediately scrambled for their lives. They turned around and tried their best to crawl back the way they came. And Feng was surprised to find that some of the poison hook centipedes had turned around in a panic. Some even tripped over themselves. They probably wished they could grow a few more legs. In less than 15 minutes, the poison hook centipedes had completely retreated, as if they had never been here before. The little black bird looked at Feng proudly. Now have you seen how powerful I am? Feng now understood a little. It was probably because the bloodline of the little black bird had a deterrent effect on the poison hook centipedes. However, what kind of species was the little black bird? An immortal rainbow sparrow? It didn't look like it. The colors of its feathers did not match. Then what kind of species was it? Little black bird, what kind of spirit beast are you exactly? Feng was puzzled and could not help but ask. Little black bird looked at him proudly. You'll know in the future. Anyway, I'm noble and handsome. I'm definitely not comparable to an idiot like Little Red. The flaming three-tailed fox king, who was standing guard at the side, was immediately unhappy. Little black bird, aren't you a little too shameless? No matter how bad I am now, I'm still an exotic beast. When I grow 6 tails, I'll be an immortal beast. When I reach 9 tails, I'll be a 9-tailed fox. That's a divine beast. Little black bird pursed his lips. You're dreaming. Anyone can brag. If you can, why don't you grow 9 tails for me right now? The flaming three-tailed fox king was unable to outtalk Little Black Bird. He mumbled, you have to take things one step at a time. Naturally, your tails will grow one by one. What's the rush? Sooner or later, I will grow 9 tails. Little Black Bird saw that the Fox King's arrogance had been suppressed. Only then did he lie down next to Chujiu and contentedly go to sleep. In the next few days, Chujiu and the 3 silly munchkins began to fight various monsters and level up. Although they had encountered some minor setbacks, they had managed to get through them safely. As time passed, the temperature gradually got lower and lower. Half of the time every day, there would be snowflakes floating in the sky. Little Madman, it is said that there is an ice field in the Chimeric plains. We should be reaching the Icefield soon, right? Chujiu said as she put on a white cloak. Feng nodded, but he was puzzled. Strange, why does that cloak look so familiar? Goodness, isn't this the snow cashmere carpet of the palace mistress? Miss Jiu, you are a role model of thrift. Chapter 694. Chimeric Icefield. Chujiu noticed that Feng was staring at her cloak, but she didn't seem to be embarrassed at all. She smiled and asked Feng, Little Madman, do you want one too? I still have a lot of materials to make more. If you want one, you can have this one. Feng shook his head like a rattledrum. He would only want it if he was crazy. If the palace mistress found out about this, his good days would come to an end. Forget it if you don't want it. I'll make one for my Prince Charming someday. He'll definitely like it. Feng thought to himself, it would be the end of the world if he liked it. He had yet to see anyone who looked good with that carpet draped over their bodies. Young master, if it doesn't work out, let's go around the ice field in front of us and head straight to the river valley to train. Feng said worriedly when he saw that the temperature dropped continuously. I'm here to train, not to play. I want to face any difficulties head on. Let's go, I haven't seen the ice field before. The demon beast meat on it must taste good. Feng. The last sentence revealed what was really on your mind. The further they went, the colder it was. Fortunately, both of them had spiritual powers to protect their bodies, so they could endure it. Finally, they saw a vast expanse of white from afar. They had arrived at the ice field. Little Madman, will there be demon beasts here? What do they eat? Chujiu asked with curiosity. Feng was also here for the first time, so he also didn't know much. Young master, I know that there are many demon beasts in the icy plain in the far north. They mostly feed on the fish, prawns, and sea beasts in the icy lakes. However, there are no icy lakes here. If there are no sources of food, perhaps there won't be any demon beasts here. Let's go and take a look first. If there are no demonic beasts, we'll take a detour. Chujiu frowned. If there were no demonic beasts, then what was the point of the trial? There is a stone tablet here. Chujiu noticed a stone tablet that was half the height of a human standing in front of her, and ran over curiously. There were many words carved on the stone tablet. The general meaning was that this chimeric Icefield was extremely dangerous. The demonic beasts inside were very ferocious, and the climate was unpredictable. Most importantly, it was forbidden to fly and use talismans. If they encountered danger, it would be very disadvantageous. Young master, why don't we take a detour? And Feng saw that since the Icefield was so dangerous, he wanted to persuade Chujiu to give up on entering the trial. How can I grow if I keep avoiding danger? Let's go take a look first. No, never mind. Let's take a detour. And Feng, after the two of them entered the Icefield, they realized that it was not quite the same as what they had imagined. Chujiu was extremely curious. She forced Little Black Rat to dig into the ground to see what the structure was made up of. Little Black Rat could break through rocks easily, so digging into the Icefield was not a problem. After a while, they dug 30 feet deep before climbing up from below. Master, the top consists of about 15 feet of soil, and the bottom is full of ice. Little Black Rat explained her findings. Chujiu nodded. 15 feet of soil is enough for plants to grow. Although the temperature here is very low, some plants can withstand the cold. That's why there are demon beasts here. Let's go. I can't wait to see the ferocious demon beasts of the Icefield. Sure enough, after walking for a while, they could see some moss and low-level Icefield plants. Some low-level glacial snow rabbits and glacial snow deer started to appear. Chujiu's eyes lit up. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.